My name is Beatrice, 36, a luxury event planner. Sounds glamorous, right? Deep down, however, this position is more complex than one might imagine. I built my career amidst extravagant parties and jaw-dropping events. But while orchestrating other people's dreams, each day I feel a heavier weight on my shoulders, especially when it comes to my own life. That Sunday lunch, the bright spring sunlight illuminated the overly adorned dining table in my mother's home. The aroma of baked cod mingled with Claudia's sharp comments and Fernanda's stifled laughter. As the conversation started, the tone quickly shifted to a familiar topic: my cheap wedding. You really won't consider a more elaborate celebration? A wedding should be memorable, Beatrice. It needs to shine, to have glamour. That's what everyone expects. My mother, with her cutting voice, couldn't hold back. Looking at that table laden with silver cutlery and tropical flowers made me realize that, in her eyes, status and ostentation defined the value of any event. This was her language, and I tried my best not to understand. But Mom, what matters is the love between us. I tried to protest, but the words came out weak, almost lost among the criticisms and the superficial charm she had always cultivated. Love? Love doesn't pay the bills. A big event should be grand. It should impress people. That's what makes the difference, and shows you care, she insisted, a condescending smile on her lips. Beside me, Fernanda nodded, clearly aligned with my mother's speech, while I experienced the bitter sensation of being out of place in what should have been a familiar space. The criticisms piled up like layers of paint on a canvas, a bit of disdain here, a cutting comment there. The voices overlapped as I just watched, as if analyzing every detail of a failed event, something that should have been perfect and was now falling apart. What they don't understand, I thought, is that true luxury isn't in ostentation, but in authenticity. This phrase echoed in my mind like a mantra, a reminder of what I've always believed. True beauty lies in simplicity. I looked around, noticing the extravagance surrounding me, and comparing it to my vision of my future. The wedding I planned with Anna was intimate, designed to celebrate our love in its raw and genuine essence. Every detail, every penny, every choice was made with care. I wanted that event to be an extension of who we are, a projection of our souls. But that, apparently, wasn't enough for my family. Deep down, I felt their disdain had deep roots, as if my happiness was a threat to the values they believed in. You just need a suitable venue, something that will make people kneel before your big day, Claudia said, in a tone that only increased my frustration. Looking at my sister's face also weighed heavily on my heart. She, so naive, so desperate for the approval and validation that the family demanded. At that moment, I realized that it wasn't just me who was struggling, but all our lives were entangled in this distorted concept of success. One day, they'll understand, I told myself, trying to find some strength in that whirlwind of criticism. Today, I was the woman planning an event that wouldn't fit into the frames they had for me. As my hands nervously played with the embroidered tablecloth, I closed my eyes for a moment, releasing the tension, allowing my determination to solidify. The truth is, I was about to transform something they considered insignificant into an event that would speak much louder than any ostentation could. And so, at that Sunday lunch, amid superficial laughter and disdainful glances, the seed of resistance began to grow within me. The battle wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to fight for what truly mattered. In my head, the idea of an authentic wedding, where genuine joy and true love could shine, began to materialize, even if it meant challenging what my family valued, because ultimately, true luxury was only beginning to be revealed. Sitting at my childhood table always brought vivid memories, a collage of moments of joy and emotional wear and tear. For every playful moment, there was a disguised criticism. For every shared laugh, a doubt that resonated within me. It was a vicious cycle that repeated itself, especially when the topic was my relationship with Anna. And contrary to how I felt about this love, Its light seemed to dim amidst the shadows cast by my family. Anna, gentle and passionate, was the antithesis of what my family valued. While they were consumed by their ambitions for status and ostentation, I found in Anna the true meaning of genuine affection. She understood me in a way no one else could. I remember the first time we went for a walk in the park on a sunny day. The birds sang merrily, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers. The smile on Anna's lips was the first clear sign that I had found someone special. Amidst curious glances, it was just the two of us there, laughing together, enjoying those little things that are often left unexplored. Our engagement day is one of those moments I'll cherish forever. It was a warm summer night, and we were on our little flower-covered balcony, filled with plants we'd grown ourselves. The moonlight illuminated Anna's smile as she knelt, her voice trembling with emotion. "Beatrice, will you be my partner for life?" The yes that escaped my lips was more than a simple vow. It was a release of a weight I'd been carrying. Symphonies of love echoed in our hearts, a promise that we would always fight for what we believed was true and beautiful. However, the joy of this new chapter quickly became fertile ground for criticism. The moment I told my mother, the look of disapproval on her face was instantaneous. "You're not going to have a proper event?" she asked, her voice sharp as a knife, the coldness in her eyes like ice that quickly settled in the atmosphere. I had hoped this moment could be different, that she would see the beauty in the simplicity of our love. But my mother's words echoed louder than my heart could bear. "A wedding needs to be memorable, an event that makes people kneel before your big day." It was as if I were entangled in a web of misunderstandings and disappointments. Their disdain seemed rooted in a distorted concept of success, as if the only validation that existed was confined to ostentatiously luxurious events. Looking at my sister, full of innocence and expectation, pained me. Fernanda always did what her mother asked, a reflection of her relentless pursuit of approval. Her desperate need to fit in became increasingly evident as my relationship became the target of criticism. Sometimes, I wondered if she too believed her worth was tied to the scale of a party. It was clear that this need for approval wasn't limited to me, but emanated from our family dynamic, where authenticity was often overshadowed by superficiality. However, a voice inside me insisted, "One day, they'll understand." It was an affirmation born from my desire to stand firm, even when murmurs and disapproving glances tried to destabilize my purpose. I was a woman planning an event that wouldn't fit into the prefabricated frames they had established as the standard. As my hands nervously played with the embroidered tablecloth, I felt the tension materialize within me. One day, as I was getting ready to go out, I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to release the pressure, allowing my determination to solidify. What I truly wanted was an event where the joy and love were genuine, where authenticity could shine without the constraints of ostentation. "This will be more than anyone can imagine," I murmured to myself, repeating the phrase like a mantra. And amidst all these moments of uncertainty, a new idea began to form in my head. I realized my plan didn't need to be just a reaction to expectations. With a touch of inspiration, I hoped to transform what my family considered insignificant into an event that would speak louder than any extravagance could. The truth was there, waiting to be revealed. I was ready to take the reins and create an event that could, finally, reflect the true essence of our love. The planning process became a channel for what I believed should be celebrated. I began to visualize every aspect, the invitation that would reflect our story, the colors that would brighten the atmosphere, the music that would touch the souls of the guests, all enveloped in a welcoming atmosphere. And this wasn't just about surface-level choices. It was about learning to communicate what was important to us, about creating memorable experiences that would permeate the celebration. One night, while discussing the preparations, Anna looked at me with those eyes that knew my struggles. "We should focus on what we really want, Beatrice. What matters is that this day represents who we are, not who your mother thinks we should be." Her words were true bullets of hope that pierced the gray clouds of my doubts. And with each glance from her, I felt the flame of determination reignite. There was much to do. and I knew the rising tensions in my family wouldn't go away. But ultimately, this relationship with Anna taught me that true love doesn't need external approval. It feeds on understanding, patience, and confidence in the choices we make. As the criticisms and expectations continued to assail my heart, a new perspective emerged like a light at the end of the tunnel. Our truth would be stronger than any criticism. Thus, the fight was only beginning. With a renewed focus on authenticity, I was determined to challenge not only expectations, but also the concepts that suffocated us so much. With every decision, with every step I took, it was as if I were building a fortress around what truly mattered. One day, all this effort would be rewarded. One day, they would see. The wedding could be a space for an authentic beginning, and I was getting closer to shaping that vision into reality. True luxury was only beginning to be revealed, and I was ready to embrace it with my open heart, recognizing that true wealth lies in the freedom we find in loving and being loved genuinely. With our wedding date fast approaching, a mix of anxiety and excitement consumed me. I was fiercely determined to make that day a perfect expression of our love, a symbol of the sincerity between us. As a luxury event planner, I knew the preparation would demand my utmost. But doing it my way, even if it meant challenging my family's expectations, gave me renewed energy. I decided to hold the ceremony in a space I had personally chosen, a small hidden garden behind an old mansion I was fortunate enough to find. It was a place where nature danced freely, exuding an unmistakable mystique. The gentle sound of the nearby stream and the morning light filtering through the trees would create the perfect atmosphere for our love, far from the demands and glamour created by others. With this idea bubbling in my mind, I began to plan every detail of this long-awaited event. Although the idea of creating something meaningful was full of challenges, I couldn't let that stop me. With renewed enthusiasm, I grabbed my planning folder and started writing lists. I needed flowers, an officiant, and of course, the much-anticipated decor that would reflect our essence. At the same time, I created a schedule that would help me organize everything methodically. While exploring vendor options that would suit my minimalist concept, I couldn't help but feel the increasing pressure from my mother. Claudia, with her traditions and a vision so rooted in ostentation, frequently hinted that we should look for something bigger, better, and more impressive. As if my love for Anna wasn't enough to create a memorable event, her calls became a mix of suggestions and veiled criticisms. "Why don't you think about something grand, Beatrice? Wouldn't it be wonderful to impress all our friends and family? You only get one chance." Each word felt like a weight on my shoulders, a scale where my love competed with the need for approval. Of course, with each criticism, I felt a spark of frustration, but I realized that strategy was what would help me survive. With a calm smile, I listened, noted some ideas, but inwardly, I was increasingly determined to follow my heart. The voices swirling around my head couldn't erase what Anna and I dreamed of. As a woman who had already survived so many grand events, I knew that beauty wasn't in the pounds of decor, but in the transparency of experiencing love. In one of our planning meetings, Anna came up with some details that sparked my creative mind. "What if the music is a mix of folk and pop, something that represents our journey?" she said about the music we would play during the ceremony. "And how about a dessert table with recipes from our grandmothers? That would create rich memories, don't you think?" Her enthusiasm was contagious and further solidified my desire to move forward. Together, we decided to create an environment that would not only be visually pleasing, but also touch the hearts of every guest present. My thoughts were clear, but the constant external pressure from my family was intimidating. Before my first meeting with vendors, I made sure to find time to put my ideas on paper, visualizing how everything could come together harmoniously. The decision not to deviate from our desire for a genuine wedding made me feel empowered. As the date approached, the stress in my personal life increased. One day, in a particularly tense call with my mother, she said, "Your grandmother always said a good marriage needs a good party. You don't want to disappoint the family, do you?" Her insistence hit me uncomfortably, a reminder of how my family's standards were shaping around more superficial ideas. But I knew, deep down, that my choice was the only one that would offer me peace. Seeing my determination, Anna became my pillar of support. B. Don't feel like you need to prove anything to anyone. What matters is that we show the world who we really are. She always knew how to find the right words, fueling my desire to defy norms and follow our hearts. With her presence by my side, everything seemed possible. As soon as she looked at me and said, "Let's do this together," a renewed energy illuminated my spirit. With the plans underway and every detail carefully considered, an unexpected obstacle arose: a change in the weather. The forecast for our wedding week indicated a strong possibility of rain. What initially made me anxious soon transformed into an opportunity for adaptation. I had already learned as a planner that unforeseen circumstances were part of the game. With a strategic mind, I decided that if the rain came, we would make the situation part of the charm of our event, an impromptu event under large parasols, perhaps even with lanterns to illuminate the outdoor dance. So, as I walked toward the final preparations, a new focus formed in my mind. I decided not only to accept the challenges, but to embrace them as part of the beauty of our love. Every drop of rain, every criticism from my mother, would be integral parts of our truth. This mentality manifested itself in my preparations, where audacity and authenticity began to intertwine. With the certainty that every decision was based on love and authenticity, the inner resistance I felt began to dissipate. I knew the road ahead might be turbulent, but I was firm in my purpose. "This day will be ours," I whispered to myself as I arranged the flowers and the centerpieces, keeping my vision clear. Days dwindled before the big event, and a renewed strength surged within me, a refreshed feeling that all I did was part of a declaration of love. On the wedding day, I wanted the love I felt for Anna to be the star of the show, more than any embellishment or ornament. And with each passing day, my confidence in my plan became even more unshakable. Our wedding wouldn't just be an event, but a celebration of authenticity, love, and freedom. And so, amidst the chaos and beauty surrounding me, I moved forward, determined to make this event a testament to our love. As the days drew closer to our wedding, the mixture of anxiety and anticipation became almost palpable. The atmosphere was charged with energy, a symphony of expectations. Each morning, I woke up with the thought of the event at the top of my mind, navigating between excitement and apprehension. There was so much to do, and with each task completed, a new layer of nervousness emerged. What I longed for was for that day to be special, not just a social gathering, but a true celebration of our love. With each detail planned, I realized that the essence of our relationship was reflecting in every choice I made. The flowers, carefully selected, were more than decoration. They became symbols of our story. The lilies I chose for their meanings of purity and renewal represented the new life we were about to begin together. The daisies, with their vibrant colors and delicate appearance, alluded to our shared love and joy in the little things. The moment the arrangements began to take shape, I could more clearly see the beauty of the celebration we had both dreamed of. However, even amidst all the meticulously orchestrated plans, my mother's presence always loomed like a shadow. Her insistent calls and messages about the importance of splendor and perfection were a constant echo in my ears. She seemed to believe that the value of an event was measured by how grand it could be. Every time I talked about our plans, her reaction was one of disappointment. "Why not go for something more impressive? What will your friends think?" Those words coiled like a fog in my mind, and I often tried not to succumb to the anxiety caused by such expectations. On the other hand, as the preparations progressed, I began to realize that all this stress could be an opportunity for growth. Instead of letting the pressure get to me, I transformed it all into fuel for my desire to create an event that wasn't just a spectacle, but a reflection of what truly mattered. Our journey together was the cornerstone of the story we were about to tell, and nothing could derail that. One afternoon, to clear my head, I decided to go for a walk in the park. The fresh scent of freshly cut grass and the bird's song created an atmosphere of lightness. In this serenity, ideas began to flow. I remembered all the times Anna and I had spent talking about what we really wanted for our special day. With my heart pounding, I wrote down in a notebook the ideas that flowed like a river. A wedding that captured our small moments, the traditions we wanted to incorporate, and above all, our essence. This is how the cards we distributed to the guests came about, inviting them to write messages of love and reflections on the importance of love. Moments like this would connect us powerfully. I thought that perhaps involving them in this act could create even greater emotion. This proposal left me euphoric, as if a new layer of authenticity were enveloping the party. But as the date approached, the conversations with my mother became increasingly frequent and exhausting. In one of these calls, I heard her suggest a new idea, a classical musical performance. Upon hearing this, I realized what was happening. The dream I had dreamed was being molded by her hands, and this disturbed me. If you don't want that, then what do you want, Beatrice? An invitation to a picnic? The provocation seemed to carry a dose of disdain for what I was actually planning. I took a deep breath and renewed my determination. With each criticism I heard, a new flower bloomed in the hope of a space where our true love could flourish. "This day will be ours," I repeated, a phrase that became a kind of mantra, a reminder of what we were about to celebrate. To alleviate this tension, the day of the ceremony finally arrived, and the atmosphere pulsed with an unexpected energy. As the preparations advanced at an accelerated pace, I allowed myself to enjoy every moment. The decoration team worked enthusiastically, florists arranging each branch, each color to create a resonance of joy in the air. The sky was blue, although distant clouds began to gather. The weather was, more than ever, in the form of a mystery. When the music team arrived, I organized a final conversation. What was initially a lesson in competitiveness turned into an exchange of ideas on how to schedule the songs that would bring our story to life. The sound emanating from the string trio made my heart race. I wasn't just organizing an event, but truly beginning to create something that was bigger than myself. As the arrangements began to materialize, I realized that the true magic of creation was happening. I had to remember the essence of what that day meant, and finally, let everything flow with the lightness that love deserved. Hopes and desires intertwined in a set of genuine beauty. The night before the wedding, I paused to reflect. What I felt for Anna was greater than any criticism or judgment I could find. I decided that the next day, all voices would fall silent, and only the truth of our love would echo in the ceremony. As the lights dimmed, I went out for a moment of contemplation under the moonlight, remembering each instance where I dedicated myself to planning with love. Each step brought me closer to realizing a dream, closer to the truth that love is our greatest luxury. Finally, at the dawn of the wedding, I awoke with renewed energy, feeling that everything I had lived prepared me for this. The look of happiness on Anna's face during our ceremony was about to be our eternal memory. The setting, full of flowers, awaited us like a brightly lit stage, a true reflection of what we desired. As our friends and family arrived and the sound of music began to float in the air, I knew this day would be a clear representation of what truly matters: authentic, free, and true love. As the sun rose above the clouds, each ray of light promised the celebration of freedom and authenticity that had become the ink of our story. And so, with each drop of rain that began to fall gently, I allowed myself to feel the joy emanating from this moment. Love was about to manifest itself with all its strength, and deep down, I knew we were ready to face any challenge. This day, finally, was destined to belong to us. On the morning of our wedding, every element of the universe seemed to conspire to celebrate the love Anna and I shared. The air was fresh, with the scent of cut grass and freshly arranged flowers filling the space. Looking up at the sky, the clouds, which had initially hung menacingly, began to part, revealing rays of sunshine that illuminated the small garden we had chosen as our sacred place of union. I felt in my heart that this was a wild blessing, a confirmation that everything was aligning. As I got ready, the nervousness was palpable, but it had a new significance. It was the thrill of anticipation, the realization of a dream that was about to materialize. The wedding dress I wore reflected who I truly was, not just in style, but in the sense that, with each layer of lace and each woven detail, a part of my history was enveloped, an echo of our shared love. The spark I saw in my reflection as I prepared was a clear reminder that this day was the culmination of all the choices I had made, of every step taken toward the truth I was finally living. Preparations proceeded at a rapid pace. The sound of arriving guests filled the air as I concentrated on breathing deeply, allowing each drop of anxiety to be replaced by the explosion of joy that was about to happen. I remembered the vows I would exchange with Anna, words that were like promises woven with all the significant moments we shared. I felt that every word uttered would not just be a fulfillment, but a seed sown for the future that awaited us. The decorating team seemed to have worked magic. The flowers we chose were scattered throughout the space, or perhaps the space itself was doing its part. The tables were decorated with small floral arrangements, each thoughtfully placed not only to beautify the view, but also to evoke a sense of belonging among everyone. Some lanterns hanging from the trees swayed gently, making the scene look like an impressionist painting come to life. As I looked around, my heart began to race as I realized that all our friends and family were gathering, ready to be a part of this significant moment. A deep feeling of gratitude welled up within me. They were there, not just to witness, but to participate in the story we created. Every face I saw was marked by genuine smiles and expressions of love and support. My thoughts wandered to what mattered most. We were all part of something bigger. The clouds began to dissipate, allowing the sun to illuminate the venue more intensely. To me, these were rays of light symbolizing the love that was about to manifest. I dismissed any last doubts or anxieties as I walked down the aisle that had been set up. And as I looked toward the altar, I realized that the path I had traveled to get there had not been in vain. Finally, I was about to unite with the woman I loved, and that surpassed any criticism I had ever faced. When the officiant began to conduct the ceremony, the intensity of the moment took hold of me. Instead of nervousness, there was an electric energy. Suddenly, there seemed to be only the two of us. Anna, with her long hair gently fluttering in the wind, and I, her partner whose heart beat in sync with hers. At that moment, all the voices that had tried to discourage me were mere shadows that had no place in our reality. When we reached the point where we exchanged our vows, every word that came from our lips was imbued with emotion. Anna, from the moment I met you, I knew you were the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Your strength, your kindness, and your unconditional love inspire me to be the best version of myself. With you, I am more than I could ever be alone. I promise to love and cherish you, now and always. I heard each word reverberate within me, and with a light touch of her hands, the connection was even deeper. Anna's vows brought tears to my eyes. "Beatrice," she said, "you've shown me what true love means. Every day with you, I see the best in myself because you make me feel loved and accepted. I promise to be your partner, your friend, and your love for life." With her words, the world around us seemed to melt away, the sunlight almost blinding. This spiritual connection between us was not only profound, but sacred. When the culminating moment arrived and the officiant announced we were officially married, a roar of joy erupted from the guests. The sound of applause resonated like celebratory drums. The outpouring of love and support was a wave of energy that enveloped us. The cloud of interference that had surrounded us before was completely dissipated. As the crowd celebrated, I felt the gentle caress of rain beginning to fall. Each drop seemed to sing to us, echoing the sincerity of our vows. The moon emerged from the clouds, touching the ground like a blessing, making the atmosphere even more enchanting. It felt as if nature itself was applauding our union. The ceremony transformed into a moonlit, rain-kissed party. Friends and family danced and celebrated, each bringing their unique flavor to our special day. Anna and I exchanged knowing glances, surrounded by a sea of supportive people. Tears of joy streamed down my face, each one filled with love and gratitude. The music we'd chosen resonated through the space, each note vibrating in harmony with our hearts. The dance floor was adorned with lanterns that illuminated the radiant faces of our guests. In this spectacle, I saw in every movement, smile, and laugh the essence of what it means to truly love. We danced as if the rest of the world had disappeared, each step in rhythm with the freedom we had chosen. Amidst the laughter and interactions, I finally realized I was surrounded by the community I had longed for. These weren't just people present out of obligation. They were witnesses to our struggles and the stories we shared. There, despite the challenges, the idea that we were building our own truth felt vibrant and alive. As the night progressed, I led Anna to the wishing well, where handwritten cards awaited. All the wishes of love and hope our friends had written became a testament to our union and a symbol that we were all in this life journey together. Anna smiled as she picked up a card. "See? We built something beautiful, something that transcends just us," she said, and her words resonated in my heart. From her, I heard what I needed most. We didn't need anyone's approval to be happy or to create an event that represented our values and desires. Our vows, our love, and the declarations left on the cards became a true testament to what it means to love someone with genuine authenticity. Finally, as we prepared to dance again under the illuminated sky, the stars began to shine with a new intensity. What had seemed like a simple event was, in fact, a milestone of love and freedom. Love wasn't just to be celebrated that day. It manifested in every choice, in every moment, echoing the truth we needed to honor throughout our lives. And so, amidst laughter, hugs, and tears of joy, we danced under the stars, knowing we were now united and ready to face whatever life threw our way. A testament to our love, our authenticity, and as we always repeated, an ode to the true wealth that resides in being genuine, in being ourselves, free from the shackles of others' opinions. The path ahead was ours, and we were ready to walk it together, secure in the knowledge that true luxury lay, indeed, in the authenticity of the love we shared. The glow of lanterns swaying in the breeze and the flowers adorning the space created a scene that illuminated the hearts of everyone present. Loud music filled the air, as joy spread around like a wave. The wedding had surpassed not only our expectations but also the prejudices we'd tried to shake off. There, that day, surrounded by friends and family, we were one. As we began to dance, the clapping of the people and vibrant voices created the perfect symphony. The floor beneath our feet seemed to pulse with the energy of all the emotion accumulated over weeks. The music we chose mixed some of our favorite rhythms, a bit of folk, a bit of pop, and everything woven with love. It was a mix that not only told our story, but also made everyone feel a part of it. Around us, our closest friends formed a circle, watching us dance. It was as if pottery was being shaped before them. We were all together in the creation of something meaningful and beautiful. The sight of Anna twirling, her hair flowing, and the radiant smile on her lips brought tears to my eyes. A wave of happiness washed over me, and I couldn't help but pull her close in a tight embrace. "This is everything I ever wanted," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "Not only did we get married, but we did it our way. You know, you make me believe we can overcome anything." Anna smiled broadly, genuine happiness shining in her eyes as they danced with the light reflecting off the lanterns surrounding us. Every trial we faced, it was all worth it. This day, this place, this party, it's all so much more than I could have ever imagined, she replied, holding my hand in a connection that grew stronger with each passing second. At that moment, one of our friends, Lucas, approached, pulling us into a group dance. Others began to join, and soon, a circle formed, pulsing with the music. The energy was high, and I looked at the face of each person around us, recognizing that each one had played a part in our story. Voices mingled, creating a beautiful blend of laughter and singing, and I knew we were sharing something exceptional. While we danced together, I couldn't help but wonder how my mother would react to this atmosphere. Despite her previous criticisms, it was clear that all around me was genuine love. "You're going to want to take pictures," Clara, a close friend, yelled, drawing everyone's attention. And then, as the camera lights flashed, the pictures began to capture the beauty of that moment. Smiling faces, warm embraces, and tears of joy were all immortalized in pixels, and the joy inside me soared even higher. Ceremonies for some are planned, staged events. However, our experience overflowed with authenticity. The dances and music that resonated represented the love that manifested in a positive way. When the appreciation and feelings were captured in that night's album, we would have much more than images. It was a recording of our love in a genuine, timeless way. When we finally paused between dances and toasts, the speeches began. One by one, the witnesses of our love journey raised their glasses, toasting us. First was Fernanda, my sister. Her voice, though nervous, radiated love. I've always admired the strength of you two. Today, your love shines brighter than ever, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. Cheers. The warmth of her words made my heart overflow. With each speech, I felt the weight of the challenges we had overcome dissipate. One by one, friends and family shared their stories, their wishes, and their blessings. With each word that echoed, it was as if everyone's love intertwined, enveloping us and reaffirming what we had promised each other. However, as I listened to the speeches and blessings, I couldn't help but acknowledge an absence among the happy faces around us. The thought of my mother in this whole scenario still weighed on me, and imagining her under that beautiful sun made me sad. Undoubtedly, her traditional view of what a wedding should be was a barrier, but her lack of acceptance couldn't overshadow the beauty radiating that day. Anna turned to me, noticing my distant gaze. "You're thinking about her, aren't you?" The concern in her voice hit me hard, and I nodded slightly. I hope she finds a way to see this, to appreciate what we've created. Anna took my hand, and her confidence brought me some peace. My love, this day is ours. It doesn't matter what her expectations are. What matters is that we are here, together, and true. And that's exactly what we wanted to resonate, regardless of any criticism out there. My love for Anna resonated truthfully, surpassing any beliefs that might exist. The continuous voices of encouragement and love built a strong shell around us, and I realized that what truly matters at these times is not what we think, but how what we feel shapes our new life. Later that night, it was finally time to cut the cake. The moment was surrounded by laughter and excited shouts as the guests gathered in a semicircle, ready to see our choice. The cake, delicately adorned with flowers that mirrored the arrangements in the space, was so beautiful that I hesitated to cut it. There was such beauty in the simplicity of what had been made. Each layer was a part of our sweet love. Anna gently pulled me, and before cutting the first piece, she raised her glass, catching everyone's attention. This isn't just a piece of cake. It's a testament to the fact that every choice we made along this path had its pains and joys, but it all boils down to a beautiful result. So, let each slice represent the union and sweetness of all the small moments we've shared together. Cheers. The toast echoed among our friends, and that sublimely chilling impulse became a bulwark. With a laugh and a twinkle in her eye, we cut the cake together and lifted the first piece. As we brought the cake to our mouths, applause echoed through the room, and the feeling of authenticity and celebration could be seen in every corner. That sweet treat wasn't just dessert. It was a symbol of unity, a small piece of our shared truth. The guests approached with their portions of cake, and the conversations transformed into feelings of love and approval. Stories and laughter echoed through the space, and I began to realize that where there had once been uncertainty, there was now acceptance and affection from everyone. As day turned into night, and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, something even deeper became evident. We were not only celebrating our love, but also uniting people and forming bonds through the acceptance of diversity. The overflowing emotions showed what it meant to live on the margins, the risks each one had taken. So, as the soft music finally began to play, and the atmosphere offered wisdom in that recognized sense of community. A new stage of our journey unfolded before us. We danced again, not just as a couple, but as a symbol of unity and genuine love. The warmth of our friends surrounded us, and the protection and support of everyone had become part of our path. And as we danced, freedom flowed in every movement, causing the revelation of critical voices to fade away amidst the smiles, celebrations, and the certainty that we had built something beautiful, something that would transcend the common understanding of what it means to be a couple. Each step took us further away from any negative thoughts. The night transformed into a universe of blessings, a testament to true love. Thus, amidst laughter, music, and the energy of those around us, we danced under the stars, knowing that we were now united and ready to face any challenge life threw our way. The party wasn't just ending, but transforming into an ode to genuineness, a celebration of love and freedom that, from that day on, would echo in all our interactions and decisions. The path ahead was promising and full of possibilities. We would finally live them together, fully. After the celebration, as the music began to fade, and the lanterns hanging from the trees formed a softly lit stage, the most beautiful event we had ever experienced seemed to finally settle into our memories. The rain, now welcome, fell in gentle, refreshing interjections, caressing our faces like a blessing from the universe. We walked towards the dance floor, intertwining our arms, while our friends still danced around us, creating a vibrant atmosphere in the final hours of the party. The warmth of the celebration still pulsed in our hearts, and our smiles were contagious and genuine. With every shared laugh and hug, we knew that we had not only celebrated a wedding, but also an act of complete love, not only between us but among everyone surrounding us. It was an invitation to the freedom of being who we truly were. After a while, a moment of tranquility found space between us. Sitting in a quiet corner of the garden, we allowed the emotion of the day to finally settle. The view around us was enchanting. The roses and lilies glowed under the soft light of the lanterns. It was in this environment that we decided to truly connect with each other. "I think the world couldn't have been better today," I murmured, looking at Anna. Her gaze was full of love and gratitude. "I feel that our story became richer just tonight. We can finally put the criticisms aside." Anna looked at me with an intensity that still surprised me. What we published not only rooted our promises, but sealed something greater. The love we found isn't just ours. It's interwoven into every person who is part of our lives. We are connected to each of them in a unique way. Those words brought an unexpected depth. It was true. Our friends and family were there, not just to witness, but to live and celebrate the space we had created. I began to realize how our bonds had deepened throughout the journey. In the following days, what followed the wedding was a completely different new world. Despite the criticism I had feared, the acceptance of my family began to slowly emerge. My mother, seeing how the ceremony had brought together so many hearts, took time to reflect on what had happened. With her, there was a mixture of emotions, a deep love, but also an internal struggle with change. The love for me and the need to connect with the authenticity of our relationship were side by side. On our first visit after the wedding, my mother hugged me tightly and whispered, "I didn't understand before what you were trying to build. I was stuck on the idea of an event, the celebration of a dream that wasn't mine. But now something is different, and I hope we can continue this journey together, hand in hand." I could hardly believe the words I heard. At that moment, the bridge that seemed broken between us began to be reestablished, and the first seeds of understanding began to sprout. It wasn't just a conversation. It was a powerful moment of transformation, where I could finally feel that authenticity wasn't just an ideal, but a way of life that could unite even the most opposite. The weeks unfolded, full of new discoveries as Anna and I explored the new dynamics of our relationship. Instead of running away from the old patterns established by society, we decided to honor them with a new perspective. Thus, we created a kind of ritual, a weekly meeting night where each of us could share our hopes, our insecurities, and everything we wanted to add to our lives. These moments became the pillars of our new reality. We sat together, sharing dreams of the future and past moments. The time that had passed after our wedding was a journey of continuous growth, learning, and change. We learned to open ourselves in ways we never imagined possible, exploring the depth of our personalities and the greatness of our love. Finally, I looked at Anna one night as we sipped wine. You know, this wedding was by far the best part of our lives. Every laugh, every tear, every hug. We were specific in our love, and now I feel we can face any challenge together. The words flowed like a river and seemed true and resonant. Life not only allowed us, but encouraged us to grow in love and courage. Anna smiled. The assurance in her eyes brought me comfort. This love is our fortress, Beatrice. It transcends everything they tried to tell us. And I want you to know I'll be by your side through every storm and every calm. We'll face the world together, always. And so, under the moonlight now rising above us, we let the celebration of our love expand beyond what we could imagine. Life demanded we be brave, and together we would discover the true wealth that resides in authenticity, connection, and the desire to simply be. As our new reality unfolded, we knew our individual and collective identities danced freely, intertwined in an unexpected lunch, a sunset stroll, or a movie on the couch on a cold Sunday. Each day brought new challenges, but the firmness of our love was unshakable, and so, with open and committed hearts, we ventured into life as a couple. With our eyes on the future and our hearts full of love, consumed by an unparalleled freedom, we finally became the authors of our own story, always exploring, always passionate, and always together.